compete with people online. Does that also make it excitement? Because you have a rank, right? Go up to the rank, and more time you spend on it, and you get better at it, and also you get more score. Is that also an attraction for boys? I know that some girls like it too.
Actually, a lot of the games that I play are single-player games. For me, gaming isn't really competing with anyone, more of a form of escapism from the pressures of school or homework or whatever. So like in the game, I'm in control. Like I'm in control of my own life. Like I get to choose what I do, and no one else can tell me. Like no teachers or parents can tell me I can do this or that.
Yes. That's actually
So,
it's quite common.
right. So I think that relates very well to what I was saying and to what we came up with in our presentation. Is that so Hudson said like I have a need for being able to control my own life, right? And how I get that is through video games. So video gaming is the band-aid. It's not the problem itself. If it were the problem itself, everyone would have this problem. Right? But it's a band-aid or a symptom of something that's quite a bit deeper.
I also feel that video game addiction or like playing too much video games, in my personal experience, is often over-exaggerated, or the severity of it, because like from my personal experience, my mom is always telling me I play too many video games. Since middle school, she's never let me play video games on the weekdays. I only get to play on the weekends. Yeah, and I feel that like I do my homework, I have straight A's, but she still complains that I play too much video games. And I've noticed this in my friends and peers as well. Like often the parents just have this idea that when they're playing video games, they're wasting their time, like they're not doing anything productive. But really, the person themselves, the person playing the video games, the kid, feels that like, hey, like I did all the stuff that I need to do, so why do you have to tell me what to do in my free time?
You know what, that's a very good point. For you, actually, you're one of the ideal kids for a lot of parents. The reason is you're straight A, you actually be able to control your time with how much you're going to play and not affecting your academic. But I think when the parents bring this up, especially the father over there, probably is worried about is going to drop in grades. I think that's what some of the so-called addictions without control. And that is, there are students, because the video game, when they're, say, 1 year of high school, get a C or a bunch of B's, and then they say, oh, I'm out of the league and cannot apply for Berkeley. I think parents are very worried, and overly worried, I think, a lot of time. But then also, you are the ideal kids to actually be able to control it.
No, also, I think your parents don't let you play on weekday. You just listen to them, right? You didn't play, right?
Well, in the
See, that's the attitude. Did your parents, they took out their computer away, or how do you,
So
Could
the
you tell
question
me
is how did
Okay,
your
okay.
mom control you?
You don't play on the weekday,
No,
they only
he
play on
was
weekend.
That is
a lot
Or you
mistake.
control yourself.
worse for me in middle school. I used to sneak up all the time at night and play video games, play from like 11 o'clock at night to 4 in the morning.
Yes,
They don't-
yes, a lot of kids are like that in junior high.
But
So this actually still plays, just the
But
my question is how did your mom to control you on weekdays, say not to play the game? So
No,
they
they
just
control
take away the computer
Oh, you
or
control.
iPad?
He's
Because
controlling
right now
his-
I'm not sure because middle school student right now may be different from your middle school, because they have to use iPad to do all the homework. Doesn't matter the language, social studies, science, math. So if you take away the iPad, they say no, I cannot do homework. If you give the iPad, they can play all the time, like 5 hours, 10 hours.
So something.
How do you? So my question is like,
That's why
you
he's
guys,
like,
how do you
video
think
games are-
like parents to involve it will be better, or you say let the kids themselves to learn from it
Right.
because they
So
can manage the time.
that we've talked about a lot in our meetings often is that when it comes to the subject of video games, oftentimes the discussion centers on this focus of time management, self-control. What can the parents do to take something away? But really, the question maybe isn't what is it to take away. The question is, what are we not giving? right? So if we, for all of us, we've spoken up about video games today already. We've mentioned something about what it is we're not getting, and what it is that video games gives us in order to fulfill that need. Right? So, when we think about, video gaming, I'd ask the audience from now on, instead of thinking about, okay, there's a problem, how do I end this problem? Think less about, I need to take the computer away, because, my parents did that to me, didn't work. I'm sure you guys have tried that with your children. Didn't work, right?
Which way will be what?
So the question, so this is, I'm taking the conversation this way to kind of bring it back to the focus of the panel, which is when you want to fix the problem, right? You want to know what the problem is, and we had come to the conclusion that the problem isn't video gaming; it's why we're video gaming. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the why of why we're playing games comes down to oftentimes the relationships that we have with our parents or with other students, right? Different kinds of things we're not getting from these relationships, right? So for me, I was also very, very competitive gamer, like capable of becoming capable of being paid, winning money in tournaments, right? But I walked away from that because I found other things that could give me better forms of what video gaming was giving me. For
Have an example of that?
sure. I played Counter-Strike before. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Counter-Strike, yeah, a little bit. So I was a competitive Counter-Strike player back when that was the game. I was ranked in all these servers, and people knew my name as like a 12-year-old. So I was playing very competitively until about 14, maybe 15, and the reason I stopped is because I started riding bikes. I became a competitive bike racer instead, and it was the relationships, the friendships I found in that community, where people would tell me, hey, you're a really cool person. I really respect how you ride your bike. I really respect the work that you put in. I really respect, you as a like that was what I needed from games. That's what I played games to get, right? Gaming doesn't really give you that. It gives you hints of that, so you keep chasing it. But the moment someone gave that to me and said, "Hey, you're enough. You're a great person. You're really cool." That felt so good. I was like, okay, that's good. I can do that, and that gradually moved away from playing games. So, when we talk about parent-teen relationships, we're kind of hosting this panel with the intention of making you guys think about that. As much as we've thought about that too, about what it is that both parents and teens need. I'm sure, it's not just us, with frustrations about the relationships. I'm sure plenty of you guys are frustrated as well. And there are things that both of us can do, right, to build a better foundation of this relationship, which, if it improves, makes video gaming unnecessary.
That's very good point.
I would like to hear what he said before. You say you wake up at night and play the game until 4 o'clock. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Then do you do this or it was in the past?
that was totally in the past.
Then how did you quit and self-control?
Well, I feel that the issue doesn't lie only with video games. For me at least, video games tends to be more common, but see, when I entered high school, I didn't play as much video games, but I started doing other stuff, like I would watch TV shows, or like and like go on online, post in online forums and use like social media and stuff. I think to my parents, the issue isn't with me playing video games, it's with me not using my time to study. Like after I'm done with my homework, I should be spending, because my job is a student, right? So I should be spending every spare second studying something to improve my chances of getting into a good college and better future or whatever. Like not maximizing my potential. So, I mean, a lot of people like video games, so video games is the more common issue, but really it could be anything. So,
Just watching YouTube, right?
yeah.
But on the other hand, I think I've been desiring this moment to say what I think about this, because what we've been trying to hint at, I think. I think a lot of, from what I know of people sitting around me, we are trying to say it, but we're not saying it all the way yet. We're trying to say that video game is only a symptom of the real problem underneath. It's not that we need to take away the computers. It's not that we need to not play. It's not that we need to set the rule to not play. Kids aren't dumb. They can think for themselves. It's that, why do they play? What do they need in their life? They need someone to tell them that they're good, that they're worth it, that they're under control. And that's what video games give them, but they can find it somewhere else too. I don't play video games. I watch Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey is this TV show about like Victorian England and balls and ball gowns and
It's about stuffy Brits.
Fabulous.
I mean, but it's like how are they really different? Are they really different? Probably not. Like they take me away from this world that I live in that maybe I want to escape sometimes. Video game is a symptom. It's not the root problem. So it's what your kid needs that is. And I feel like it's so hard to communicate that because I've lived in China. I know how, I think, at least I don't want to sound arrogant, but I think I know how a lot of people there think. And they just think, oh, like video games, taboo word. Don't get close to it. Like my kid is not gonna, but that's not the point. Like your kid is a human being.
Thank you for that.
Okay, I was very
My turn.
Alex.
Okay,
I do support. Wow, thank you for your unwavering belief in my ability. So I do support everyone else has said, but I do believe that for some people, even if they're very fulfilled, if they're happy with their lives, it's still reasonable for them to play video games. And I get that a lot of parents want to control the video game time that their kids have because they think it's going to ruin their schoolwork, they're going to get addicted, and they're not going to be able to do anything for the next 4 years. And I believe that is the wrong mindset to go about this. Because the more you try to control what your children are doing, the more you're actually putting off and even worsening the problem, which is, if you keep controlling their schedule, you say, hey Alex, what do you have tomorrow? I don't think I have anything. No, you do. You have a party tomorrow at 7 o'clock where you're going to meet this professor and talk to him so you can get an internship on May 12th, starting at Stanford or something like that. I don't want my parents to be able to do that to me because I am able to. That doesn't happen to me because my parents know that I am able to manage myself. I have good time management, and this time management is not something that came out of my ass. It is something that I had to develop through all. I know.
Tone it down a bit.
It is something that I had to develop through a lot of experience and learning it for myself. And the more you try to control your kids' time, and controlling their video game time is one example of that, the more you're kind of screwing them over when they leave for college. Because what a lot of college kids do, and what happens to a lot of them, which is really unfortunate, is they leave home, they go to college, they do not have the oppressive control of their parents anymore to manage the time for them. So what do they think? I'm completely free to do whatever I want. So I'm going to put this homework right here for the next 24 hours and play nothing but video games. And that's pretty much
You know.
So what can you do to make sure this doesn't happen? Well, it may seem counterintuitive, but you sort of need to let go little by little. Because, as I've said, learning to manage your own time is an acquired skill, and if you keep managing your children's time for them, they are never going to acquire this skill. They are not going to have the same skill that people who have more freedom have. And so when they leave high school, when they start going off to college or maybe a job, I don't know, they are going to be worse off for it.
Yeah, I feel that control is a really important issue, and not just control of time management. At least for me, it's been the focal point of a lot of arguments with my parents, because I feel that my parents are micromanaging every aspect of my life. I'm 16 years old and I can't even use my computer in my own room. I have to be outside, sitting in the living room in full view of my mom while I do everything, my homework, use my computer. She tells me, okay, you do this, you do that, and now she's like, you don't have to do it, but I'm just going to take your computer away if you don't do what I say. So it's just another form of controlling me, and I feel that for me is the biggest personal issue in my life because I feel like at school I'm controlled by my teachers. I come home, I get controlled by my parents. It's like living in a prison.
Right, to condense what they just said instead of just like a ranting format.
So what do you expect parents to do? Like you guys alone?
Not
Talk
immediately.
about
Yeah, I
how
think control is still necessary, but you need to, as the teenager grows and matures, you should gradually stop being afraid that they're gonna screw up because everyone needs to become independent and grow mature over time. So you should slowly let go instead of being afraid to, of the future and afraid of what your teen can do.
What I observed, you guys should know that even you are in the open area, we have no idea what you do. So, I mean, my experience, I have boys, right? A few boys. So I take them out in the living room when they were in junior high, and I realized that I don't know what to do. They will say, okay, I'm looking at the scene because this is for this project. So I finally say, okay, go to your room if you want. So one takes the living room, one takes the family room, and they're by themselves. So actually the parents and teenagers, we really have no control of what they do. I mean, some of the kids, how they say, have to be spanked like in China. Doesn't work with the teenagers, you have to let them to grow up. So that's what I do with my kids. But however, we do have that worry. Do they all of a sudden screw over if they don't know how to control the time? Just like if they, you said that actually give you a chance to learn if you go to college. I've seen people actually fail in college because the first year they have all the freedom they didn't have anyways. So that's a very good point.
It depends on what your definition of failing is, right? If your definition of failing is getting B's or C's,
Oh no.
or is your definition of failing, I mean, it might be a life experience for them.
So,
It might be important for their life.
Failing means F.
That's the interesting
Not
thing.
C's.
Is I know very few people who didn't get into college. I know a lot of people who failed out of college. A lot of Asian Americans too, which is surprising because at Swarthmore there weren't very many to begin with. But I knew a lot who couldn't handle the freedom. Because even having freedom and control is something that requires practice. Right? That's what you're saying. And that was something that totally just imploded on them. I mean, the reason you look at me, I'm big. I lift weights. The reason I started lifting weights was to carry drunk Chinese friends home from parties to their rooms.
So
Like,
Being a good friend.
yeah, being a good friend, but patching up what they didn't get in their high school career, right?
Couldn't handle it.
Yeah. So I think that's a necessary component too. I mean, it's hard because we as kids, we realize that as parents, it's hard for you to believe, like, oh my God, are they ready? And even if they are ready, am I ready to make them, to give them the time? It's scary, right?
I have a question. So if the kid cannot control itself, with the grades C or sometimes with F, and almost failing the class and always play the game, what the parents should do with those kids? If they don't have self-control, they don't know how to self-control. So that's what's your suggestion parents should do that to handle this situation?
It's very hard to know from a kind of generic situation. For us, we're all the children of an extremely selective pool of people who withstood the Cultural Revolution, got into college, and then could leave China for the United States. So we're all coming from very exceptional genetic stock, right? It's unlikely, I think, that that one of us just doesn't have the ability. That one of us just doesn't have the ability to control themselves. Often it's because we're I think rational actors. We're juggling two things. On one hand, we have an option to do homework, and on the other hand, we have an option to do something else. The question isn't, why is this person not responsible? The question is, why is this person consistently choosing this over that? And I think you'll find that if you examine, what this gives the child, it'll tell you something about what the child needs. Right? And then you have to think about how you can provide for those child's needs in that way, such that this becomes unnecessary. Does that make sense?
I want to add on to that, which is like, I know some people who, he's probably he's like very, very smart, but like he's not like doing well in all his classes because like some of these classes he just doesn't care about, right? They don't matter to him. So why should he really get an A in the class if he's never gonna go on and do like chemistry in the real world, right? So it doesn't apply to him. So like in other classes like math where he excels at, he just does well at it, right? So then like, and then since he doesn't care about several classes, he just spends the rest of the time playing video games because he does care about playing video games. So it's like, if I don't care about it, why should I? Well, if you don't care about it, you have no reason to do it.
But the fact is, it doesn't matter if you care or not. You have to get at least B in order to get into college, right? If you still get a C or F or something, how can you get into the college?
I think caring actually does matter. I think it does matter if you care or not, because I think I think the college admission people are pretty clever about this. They can sort of tell if you care, if you're kind. I mean, even maybe not just colleges, but like once you get into college and once you go on in your life, if you're doing something just because you want some material advantage out of it, there's a marked difference between that and doing something because you care about it. The quality of the work you produce tends to be at a far greater level when you actually care about something. So when you actually enjoy doing something, when you feel a sense of fulfillment from doing something. I feel like part of the reason why I get good grades is not because I'm smart or anything, but just because I just happen to care about some interesting fact, and it's enjoying. I enjoy it, and it's fulfilling, and I feel like one of the things parents can do is that instead of trying to motivate students to do well on their classes because of this external motivation that's at the end of it, you're if you do well, you're going to get into a college, and this rewards this reward system, but instead try to show them why this subject is enjoyable, why we should care about learning, and why we should feel a personal sense of fulfillment from learning literature, from studying literature, or from studying history, or from studying science or math, and that will and once parents can. I mean, this might be difficult. Maybe you can't necessarily do it yourself. Maybe you have to find a good teacher that can bring that out in someone, or just a good person who can bring that out in someone. But once you find an internal motivation to do well on something, that can be much more powerful than having having the prospect of, oh, you're going to get into college if you do this well.
Going off of the topic of caring, so I remember growing up here, right? And then I went there to Tsinghua Fuxiao. And then eventually, I don't know, I felt I was lucky or something. I got into Tsinghua Fuzhong. And I just felt like going to school there, I don't care. These are Chinese parents, we are Chinese American kids. I can just say what I think. I think that they don't really care about their students. They put you in uniforms. They tell you the precise length of how far your hair can go, not below your eyebrows. They tell you the style of hair you should wear. They tell you that you cannot wear bracelets. They tell you these are the books that you need to go through in order to pass these tests. And it's mapped out for you. You have no choice. So in a way, I feel like growing up in China, you are not taught to care. But I don't think, maybe it's, you can't, I understand that maybe as Chinese parents, you can't imagine the other side. What it is growing up to know that I'm human and I'm allowed to speak like this, and it's valued, it's respectful, because you didn't grow up in America, right? But that's not your problem. I mean, that's just the facts. But what I mean is, in China, it literally is, I felt like one piece in machinery. If I didn't do well in oh, sure, whatever, what are you gonna do to me, right? I had friends who got whipped by like their dads by like 皮带. I'm just like, what the, you know? Like you should be treated as human from when you're young. And here I feel like people are treated more as human, as in you can speak and it's okay. It's acceptable. But there it wasn't. So maybe it's hard to imagine what it's like this. But this is the world we grow up in.
I can add a different facet from the parent perspective. I think what you just said is it's better for the parent to get the motivating side instead of on the pushing side. Right? And in fact, okay, it's actually a lot harder, right? To be motivating side. Also, it actually takes a lot of time and energy. And the truth is, the parent lots of time don't have that energy after a busy day of work. Okay, so pushing is very easy. Okay, and simple to follow. It's like a routine. Okay, but for the parents to actually get to the right way, it actually takes a lot of energy, thinking, preparation, and real work. Okay, after a full day length of work. Okay, and obviously the first generation like us, it's not doing trivial amount of work at work. Okay, and to earn whatever this expensive good school districts you guys actually go through, it's not tediously trivial to actually have and you know, after a full day of work. Okay? And so you know, it's not a surprise. People are tired out at the end of the day and choose a much easier approach. Okay, just a different aspect.
I agree with that, and that's why this tends to happen. But I think the fact that, well, first of all, the fact that you're all here and willing to listen to us and talk to us about this issue means that you are willing to put in this work. And if there's like one thing Chinese people aren't afraid of doing, it's putting in work to something. Yeah, so like, and I think it's worth it in the end if you're willing to put in this level of work and you're willing to come here and just listen to a bunch of us like talk and you're willing to like maybe think about how you might be able to put in more efforts, because yeah, generally the easy way tends to be like the better way might tend to take a lot more effort, and that's why this happens. Because I don't think any of you are like deliberately trying to like not use not a very successful method. I think it's true that people might not have that time and energy to do that. But I think if you are willing to put in the time and energy, it could be worth it.
So I think we've reached kind of a turning point in the conversation. So first of all, thank you for what you're saying. I think it's I think very different from most what most I think Chinese parents would say.
I can feel sometimes, even I know the right way, I may choose not to do it, right?
No, I think we're all, as parents and teens, we're trying to make the best of limited time and resources, right? And sometimes if you're exhausted, like you're gonna say something that maybe wasn't the best thing to say, and your team might respond in a similar way, right? We might all know theoretically what the best way to go about something is, but without the practice, without the habit of communicating in a better way, we're going to resort to what's easy. But I think that's the thing, is over time, what's easy can change. Something that I've been trying with my mother is trying new communication styles, and she's turned like total 180 from what it was when we were in high school, or when I was in high school, I should say, and. The interesting thing is that she now says, after trying this new way of working on it, it's easy. I mean, there's no effort. There's like, I think if you were to see the other side, if you were to see what, if you were to have practice in what a good communication style looks like, you'll realize how tiring it is to do what you're doing now. In fact, this is the hard choice. I would argue. you know, the pushing and the arguing, you know, that's a lot of effort. That's not just physically tiring, it's emotionally tiring, which turns into physical labor. So,
what the parents do, if the
Yeah.
kids still continue, then just let it go, let him play, don't care, and don't ask everything.
Maybe we should put it this way, what's your, from your point of view, what's your, you think the ideal parent, the good parent is? From your case, what do you expect to do for your, when you do, yeah, tell us what do you expect your parents to do?
I don't think you shouldn't care about it because you definitely because you do care. You definitely care. And
He doesn't think you shouldn't care, so you should care.
Sorry. Yeah.